And we got a quorum?
Yep.
We do?
Yes, sir.
All right, well. Hey, we got. Good. Well, good. Ready?
Yep, we got 7 minutes online too.
Good. Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We have members present and we have members online and we have a quorum. And so I'd like to start the committee meeting for the Small Business Development. And at this time, I'd like to call on Representative Dwayne Hill for the invocation.
Let us pray. Our dear kind Heavenly Father, as we come to you with humble hearts, thanking you, Lord, for another day that you've given us. Lord, we thank you for your grace and your mercy that we don't deserve. We pray for your leadership, your guidance, and may we have the wisdom, Lord, that you'd grant it to us that we'd know the difference. Help us make the decisions that would be pleasing to you. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Well, super. This is going to be a great meeting today. I'm looking forward to it. Lee Limke is here representing some of the subcontractors in our construction industry. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to you. You're going to kind of be the master of ceremonies, if that's okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm delighted to be here this morning with the groups that I represent. I'd like to tell you that our folks are the working folks of Georgia. We work hard in our professions and provide great services for many, many Georgians. And these are professional people who also care a great deal about Georgia. And that's why these specialty contractors are here today to tell you a little about our industry. I also brought my good friend, Mark Woodall, and I wanted to ask Mark to say a couple words as well, because we work on a lot of different issues together. Today, we're going to listen to Jennifer Woods, CFO of United Electric. Also with her will be Joey Shorter, the president of the Atlanta Electrical Contractors. Following Andy, we'll have, Joey Shorter, we'll have Andy Sumter, president of the Mechanical Contractors Association of Georgia. Then Masa Pollock, COO of Southern Electric from the Independent Electrical Contractors Association. Then to lead cleanup, we'll have Jerome Sable, the president of PlumWorks and president of the Plumbing Association, along with the executive director, Ellen Whitaker, will be here. We, again, thank you for your time, and it's a pleasure to be here and let you hear about our industry. Here we go. Mark, would you like to say something?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's nice to be back. Lee made me come this morning, but I'm happy to do so. I just one of the things I wanted to mention to you, the industry has really come together to address one of our greatest challenges, and that's the skilled workforce. And so I left with Blake a copy of our newsletter on that, but we're up to 7 locations where we're having high schools in the construction trades compete. Along with the event, there'll be a career fair. Parents are getting on it. For these kids that don't play Friday night football, it's like their football game. And we're really seeing a difference. And so workforce development continues to be one of our biggest issues. We've been fortunate to get some money in the budget for that effort. And we just would continue to ask you guys that these are great job opportunities, very well paying. And I think our parents are finally waking up that sending a kid to 4 years of college and getting a degree and in some areas isn't necessarily the best career path. So thank you for what you do. Thank you for asking us to come present and tell you about the issues we face on a daily basis.
Thank you very much. I guess we have Jennifer Woods up first. Thank you for being here, Miss Jennifer.
Thank you for having us. We're thrilled to be here and talk about our industry. And I have Joey here with me together.
Yeah. You want me to start?
Yeah. So I am a small, medium-sized contractor in Marietta, Georgia. So just down the road. We are We worked about 99 people last year, no more. And Mark referenced skilled labor. That's something that you guys have heard us talk about for a decade, probably. We no longer have a skilled labor problem. We just have a labor problem.
Yeah.
We need people to work, not just skilled people to work.
Yeah, that's true. So let me say something. So my background is education. I'm a lifelong educator. They say old principals never die. They just lose their faculties. So whenever I came to Georgia 2 years ago, I came from the national office where I'd served as Director of Workforce Development and Research, and also the Foundation for Research. It was kind of a natural transition coming to AECA because so much of what we do is education and training, continuing education for our members, but also recruiting this workforce that we're talking about. And I will tell you that last year, in the year after COVID, that we had over 1,300 applicants for our apprenticeship program, for first year apprenticeship program. We accepted 650 of those roughly in the first year apprenticeship program. So our numbers for our licensed electrical workers, JWs, journeyman wiremen, compared to apprentices, is about 2 to 1 total. So it's a 5-year apprenticeship program, but we're doing everything we can to streamline that and make it tailor-made for those who come to us with certain skills that we don't have to reteach and they don't have to, quote, relearn. So we have been very successful thus far in finding workers through social media. We've had a very extensive, very costly social media campaign, and it is paying off. And we are seeing the benefits of that. But there are a lot more people out there who don't know the opportunities in the industry, and they certainly don't understand the opportunities of going to work for businessmen and women who care passionately about their employees and providing them with not only the best skills and opportunities, but also the best pay and benefits. And so that message needs to continue to get out there. Real quickly, Jennifer asked me to say this, or to talk about this. In 2019 was our record year for hours worked in our association. We just represent 35% of the market in our association. So that year we reached a total man hours worked of 10,040,000 man hours. And during COVID, we dropped about 17% to roughly 8.3, between 8.3 and 8.4 million man hours. When I got here on May the 1st, Governor Kemp, who I had not met at that time, had said, you know, given me 3 options. And I called my wife in Maryland. I said, "You're not going to believe it. I can get my hair cut. I can go bowling, or I can get a tattoo." She said, "What did you do?" And I said, "I got a haircut." So it was businesses open, you know, and that was very different from where I had come in Maryland and the DMV, because a lot of our contractors up there in our national association, and even last week when I was in Austin for our big meeting, getting ready for convention in the fall, there are still areas that are just starting to open up. So fast forward, we lost 18% roughly man hours in 2020. In 2021, we're back up to 9.8 million man hours as of December. So we're quickly overcoming the COVID glut, if you will. And we're excited about that. And we're looking at projects coming down the pipe that we've got to man. We've got to find workers to get the work done. And
as Joey mentioned, when COVID started, so March 2020, and we were asked by the governor about the 14 days to slow the curve, the whatever it was, I don't even remember at this point. But you know, we said, if you go and start picking these contractors or these projects can remain open, then we're going to see a breakdown in the supply chain. And luckily, all projects remained open. So we've been working this entire time since we never shut down, except for during specific projects that were under emergency. But our greatest problem right now, besides the workforce, is our supply chain.
Yes.
We're seeing massive issues with the supply chain, whether that's price, whether that's availability, whether that's lead times. It's stuck in ships, it's stuck on the road. I did some research last night. I went back to 2020, February 2020, to look at the pricing and the lead times. So I made a couple notes. The cost of 4-inch PVC. So these are all standard bread and butter products that we use in electrical. The price in February of 2020 was $155 per 100 feet. Today, it's $878 per 100. The cost of 3/4 inch EMT, which is the standard metal tubing that we use in buildings. February of 2020 was $65 per 100. Today, it's $120 per 100, $120. And we're anticipating an increase any day. Actually, I could get back to the office today and have an increase. It's March 1st. Copper, which has historically been a volatile product, but we never really saw a huge fluctuation. $95 per 1,000 in February 2020. Today, it is $200 per 1,000. And I can't get it tomorrow. So pricing is something that, it affects us, yes, but we're passing it on, right? We're passing it on to the customers. So that's something that's going to affect the everyday consumer, just in the cost of building buildings. What we are seeing a huge problem with that is affecting us is the lead times. So for common things like receptacles, light switches, common light fixtures, it used to be a week, maybe 2 weeks for us to get it. It's now anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks. I'm sorry, 8 to 10 weeks. I apologize. Eight to 10 weeks.
Yeah.
So that means that we can't just drive to the supply house and pick up a receptacle to fix your house. And the even bigger problem is the large switchgear. So that's power that actually brings the power inside to the building, that lights up all of the buildings across downtown Atlanta. It's the main service point in the building. This is shocking. So it used to be about 8 weeks that we could do that. We were able to plan, we were able to order when the project started and get it there on time. It's now anywhere from 40 to 50 weeks. It's almost a year. It's almost a year.
50. Yeah.
And the racket of the whole thing is that we can pay anywhere from $20,000 to $50,000 to get it sped up to 20 weeks. And that's a cross your fingers type of situation that we're hoping. So what we're seeing right now is a delay in projects. We're seeing projects being pushed 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. So we're left in this unusual predicament where as of today, I have 12 electricians sitting at home because the projects are delayed and they are wanting to claim unemployment. And this is because of the price of fuels going up. We can't get truckers to deliver our products to the warehouse. We can't even get it on US soil. It's sitting out in the ocean. There's congestion in our ports, congestions on our roads with our trucking.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good morning. My name is Andy Sumter. I'm with the Mechanical Contractors Association of Georgia. You guys did a great job. We have much the same issues that they have, that the electrical has. But I do want to commend the state of Georgia and the politicians for quickly opening the state back up and being so pro-business. The state of Georgia is known for being pro-business, and we need that to continue. But for that to continue, workforce development is absolutely monumental. It's an issue that impacts every industry. It's not just, we're speaking for contractors, but it's not just contractors. It is everyone. It's professionals, it's tradespeople, it's retail. Restaurants, it's everywhere. We need people. And once we get people, we can train them. We have the facilities to train them. But we need people. We can't go back in time and change what we've done. But this is an issue now. We've got to address it immediately. We can't wait anymore. And really, so 2 years ago, we started a workforce development initiative in the mechanical contractors. And we hired a guy that his job is to go around and recruit. And so we have attacked the high schools and the trade schools throughout the state of Georgia to try to, attract, really communicate the opportunities, the career opportunities, the benefits of being a tradesman, the career availability. It's not just a job, it is a career. And he's done a great job. And the schools, even through COVID, when he had a tough time getting in, he adapted. He had Zoom sessions. He's done Zoom interviews. He's done a really great job. And we like the electricians, we doubled the size of our first year apprenticeship class. We normally bring in about 120. We brought in 250 last year. So we're very encouraged by those efforts, and they are working. And once we recruit them, we then have to educate them and retain them. And retention is huge. We have to treat them well, pay them well, and train them and make them feel like they're a part of the team. So that's also very crucial. And we have, we've talked about this. It seems like as long as I've been alive, the baby boomers have arrived. They are retiring. Currently, they are going to continue to retire in the next 5 to 10 years. We're going to lose a lot of our workforce, and we have got to recruit, retain, and train our new workforce to replace those people. So I ask you, and I'll close, don't get bogged down in the issues that only affect a few. Focus on the investment of time and resources that will help everyone. And really right now, workforce development is absolutely huge. Supply chain, they covered that well. It is those two are the main issues that are affecting our industry right now. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Leave, I've got one question, and you're talking about the supply chain and everything. And what seems to be the problem with the supply chain? The manufacturers are not open for work yet. Production lines are not producing. What seems to be the problem there?
Many of the things that we require for our jobs, pipe valves, fittings, equipment, HVAC equipment, are manufactured overseas, or parts are manufactured overseas. And some of the assembly does occur here as far as equipment goes, but so we're having trouble just, the manufacturers are having trouble just getting parts from overseas. Pipe valves and fittings, we're having trouble getting those. They come from, China, Japan, Italy, Europe, all over Europe, India. And we have real trouble getting materials, just stainless steel, carbon steel, just plate that we can roll and weld the seam, make pipe. We're having issues just getting things into the country from overseas. And, but that's not the end of the story. And they alluded to this. There's a shortage of truck drivers. There's a shortage of people that handle the materials at the ports. We are just facing a huge labor shortage in every segment of our society. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. I appreciate you coming and saying those words about the issues that face our economy, both state and national. And I share your concerns, and especially right now with, we've had 8 years of being the #1 state to do business And we want to keep that tradition alive and going. And so this is, part of the reason that y'all are here so that we can address some of that. So with that, thank you. And good. Now, Melissa.
I'll say it. It's Massa Purak. It's like
Uh-huh.
NASA, but with an M.
Uh-huh.
So I am the Chief Operating Officer and owner of Southern Electric Company. I come to our community, the construction community, by a non-traditional means. 4 years ago, I was a public defender practicing in California. I grew up in Alpharetta. I went to Emory University and went out there for law school. My dad started our company in 1997, but passed away unexpectedly in 2018. And I took over his position. I've been running the company since. I share many of the same concerns as my fellow colleagues in the community, but the longest term issue I see is our workforce development. And I think that there is a broad narrative issue just generally in this country, and I feel like the older I get, the more dangerous it is to say this, but I wasn't in high school that long ago. And the narrative there is college, 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 college. But I can also tell you, I can name at least a dozen people I graduated with who have tens of thousands of dollars worth of student loan debt and are working jobs that don't require a college education. They would have been better off if we had started with them when they graduated high school. Maybe they could have bought a home with the money that they spent at college. And I think that's really a shame for all of us, because there is almost a narrative. Actually, I'm part of the independent electrical contracting school in a committee, the training committee, and somebody said, construction isn't sexy. And I think that that's somewhat true in our narrative, that it's not really raised up, and it's not supported, and it's not celebrated, which is really a shame, because I am a big proponent of promoting from within my company. We recently promoted an estimator from the field into the office, an assistant project manager also from the field into the office. And these are positions that are making really good quality salaries. And so I really would like to see you all starting to have conversations. And it's not just with the people coming up in high school, it's their parents, right? Because a lot of parents don't necessarily want to see their kid, oh, I'm going to be an electrician. But why? Why? Being an electrician is a phenomenal career to have. You are able to work with your hands, create something. I mean, I can't tell you the joy I get driving down the, 75, 85 and seeing a building that our company was, a part of building and creating. And so I think that there's practical things we can be doing, such as investing in the independent electrical contracting school and other vocational training programs, but also just a conversation of, what do parents want for their children in the long run? Where do you see them going? Do you want them to be self-sustaining, purchasing that home, starting their family? And, the way to do that very well may not be to go take out $100,000 worth of loans, go to an out-of-state school and study music. I think we have a lot of potential in this state. I feel really privileged to be able to do business here. And I've got some phenomenal employees, but I need more. I need a lot more. And we really need your help to be able to start getting those people excited about what we do.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I've had the opportunity in my life to be a part of the technical college system of Georgia. My background in Americus, Georgia, where I'm from, I was asked to join the foundation of the technical college years ago, over 20 years ago, when it was called vocational schools. And then the name change came to Technical Institute to more stay focused on what the technical colleges could offer. And under Governor Sonny Perdue, some things started changing that were really positive. The first thing that we did was change the name from Technical Institute to Technical College. The second thing we did was we got all the technical colleges SACS accredited. So using the HOPE grant, which is not the same as the HOPE scholarship. The HOPE grant is you don't have to maintain that B average that you do in the HOPE scholarship, and it's for our technical college system. And so it's basically a free education for those that enroll. We offer, addressing your needs, we offer the core curriculum so that your basic core that you have to take in the university, you can take at the technical college. I said earlier, it's SACS accredited, so the credit hours that you get at your technical college are transferable should you decide that you want to pursue a degree at a university. And then we've invested in dual enrollment, trying to encourage our students to be thinking about professions at an earlier age. We share your concerns. You're absolutely correct in the assessments that y'all are all making. What else can we do? I just wanted to bring this to your attention. These are already on the books and have been working for years now, but getting the students in, and I'm going to speak for my schools down in my district, South Georgia Technical College, which was one of the first two created in the 40s. And our school has dormitories. Our school has intercollegiate sports, but we're still not growing. We're not getting the students in. We've got great programs in so many different areas, but we can't get the students in. And so any suggestions or advice, or because we want to train them for you? Yes, sir.
Well, as an educator, I think the more, she used the term sexy, I think the more we tie technology and the future of technology, whether it's with the tools that we're using in our hand and our skills, or the BIM, the AutoCAD drawings, whatever, the more we tie technology to the education, the more we're going to attract the younger generation.
We've turned a corner here in our industry to where it's not just working with your hands out in the field, outside, getting dirty. We have so many technical options in our career paths. Control software design. We have lighting controls. We have all these different technological items are going into buildings nowadays, and we need people to do that as well. And people need to understand, parents and younger kids need to understand that that is a career path. And something also is that we provide schooling. So AECA and IEC, we provide the schooling. And so we have
Doesn't cost.
Cost zero.
Yeah, we pay for
$0,
it
and
as the
we're also
employer.
self-funded.
Yeah.
But my question would be at, the high school level or even the middle school level in the communities where, that school exists. What are they saying in career development, right? Like, are they really talking about this, or is this just kind of a passing note on the way to college again? Because the IEC doesn't require you to live anywhere or do any specific thing. You can just go there. It's a one night a week apprenticeship program that I think is very attainable for a lot of people. But I really think that if you were to go, I'm a graduate of Milton High School in Alpharetta. If you were to go sit in that guidance counselor's office talking about what your career will be like, I would be very surprised if construction came up at all, to be completely honest, except for maybe if you were going to go study engineering at Auburn and you were going to get a nice office job, which is great, but we need more people on the ground actually doing it. So I think the resources are there. The schooling is there. Some of the funding is there. But again, my question is, how are you attracting the young people and their parents to convince them to do it? And we need to be talking to schools and educators who are so influential in that process.
Questions, and we have a couple of questions. So please sit down, continue. Dwayne, I think you're the first one, and we've got two online, one online.
Okay, thank you. When you're out recruiting, my question would be, do you see more of recruits coming in from rural areas, city areas, or have you diversified, went out to those areas?
We see all. We prefer the rural because those kids are already used to getting up early and doing a job before they go to school and working with their hands and everything. But we'll take everybody. We go into the city, we go into the farms, everywhere we can go. We're recruiting 57 counties in Georgia right now.
That's good.
Someone
There's
suggested last week the national adopt a school. I said, try adopting 48 schools.
Good. And when you respond, excuse me for interrupting, but could y'all come to the microphone for the benefit of our online audience?
Well, one of the things we have that same situation in our area. So we are in the process of building a career academy for a high school to get people more involved in these type of jobs, because we see the same thing you see. In my business, I've already raised my products 50%, and starting today, I've got to do a surcharge of 10% just to keep up with the cost. So I feel the pain you do in my type of business. It's a little different than yours, but something similar. And so the Career Academy, we think, is a good start for our area and to get these kids, because a lot of kids, like the lady said, they're not going to go to a 4-year college. And to get a good technical trade and schooling that way, and the things that you are offering. I have a young man in my church who is an apprentice, electrical apprentice, and I have one who was an apprentice for a lineman. And so these things pay good money, and in a lot of cases more than what their college degree would pay if they had a 4-year degree. And so I know myself, I went to technical school and it took me around the world working. So, you know, that's the good things. But yeah, we've got to attract more people, and we're hoping that doing career academies, we can start that at our level, and maybe some of the other places around our state can follow that. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have another question online, Representative Robichaud.
Thank you, Chairman. And I agree. And to the young lady, my sons are graduates of Milton High School also. So I live in the Roswell, Alpharetta area. We've also started, I might recommend that by high school, it's almost too late. We've started with our Rotary Club, a volunteer program, and we're starting programs in as early as elementary school, that we're going in at the elementary school level. They build, you know, they start building small structures. By middle school, they're building and wiring structures as an after-school program, trying to get people and the parents comfortable. And then in our high school, working with our technical colleges up here in Alpharetta, Roswell too. So I don't know if the state has the capability, you know, even by middle school. I think if we can garner that interest earlier, sometimes by high school, it might be a little bit too late already.
Thank you. And Burnell, Representative Burnell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was at another meeting around the corner, but this was of interest to me, so I walked all the way around to ask my question and to make a statement. I'm originally from Detroit. I'm a retired educator. And one of the things that I was having this conversation with the automobile industry, and I worked on the assembly line. So it was kind of interesting when you're out. I remember I was in college and they said, your hands are going to get dirty. Your hands get dirty wherever you work. I mean, it wasn't dirty in the plant. You just I put dampers on the machines. But one of the things I know from that experience is that you do have to start early, and you have to talk to girls and boys. And so I think that we're missing a mark when we're not talking to young ladies, because based on some of the testing, they are the ones that would really be good. And then also Detroit, the majority of people in Detroit own their own homes. So went General Motors, Ford, and Chrysler. So went Detroit and the whole state of Michigan, and basically United States. And when people know that they're going to make a really good living, and that was the middle class, then that's the best way. You have to be very simple when you're giving that message to explain to them the value, because right now, if you try to find a really good electrician, you're not going to find one. I mean, they're like a needle in a haystack. And so I think if you approach it that way, I think that will also help you. And like Representative Robichaud said, is to really start talking to kids in elementary school and finding their interest, and then connecting it one thing to another, because you can have both. You can have a college degree and you can have that 2-year degree too. So I just think that's another thing that you could do.
And we have one more question from Representative Kendrick.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A very good and interesting discussion. Just to reemphasize what everyone has said about really starting workforce development early. I do a lot of work in the technology community, and it's the same issues around getting young people to think about paths to careers that don't require those 4-year degrees, just might require a certification from Google, or maybe they just need some coding training in a camp. And so I guess my question is, I've seen a lot of public-private type partnerships in the technology industry. So are there any sort of partnerships like that with your particular industries that maybe are partnering with state or local governments to do some sort of certification type programs early in either middle school or high school?
Yeah, they are. They are. Thank you. Thank you for that question. Does anyone want to elaborate on that or? No, okay. All right, well, let's move on. Thank you, Jerome.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We are with the Georgia Plumbing Association. We probably have, as people would say, the dirtiest jobs, as a plumber. But we, as I mentioned earlier about technology, it made me think about, we're in the same, even though it's maybe not as sexy as some other trades, we install these really high-end $5,000 toilet bidets. We have to repair them. I have 2 people that are certified and trained in doing that, and basically they're fixing computer boards, chips, all this stuff. It's not the plumbing you would think about. So it is changing like everything else. Our biggest thing also is workforce development, as everybody else is saying. To my knowledge, and you probably know more than I, in the state of Georgia, the technical schools, I think there's only 2 plumbing programs, and one of them I think is in Americus. So you down there are doing a great job. I'd obviously like to see more. And maybe this is being done already, but you made me think about technical schools and training. Me as a business owner, my first thought is, okay, I have to go out to I have to market this. So can the technical schools or the state, maybe they're already doing this, spending money on TV, radio, advertising, getting these kids interested in showing them what's available at the technical schools?
I can only speak from my personal experience at South Georgia Tech, and it was interesting that we have a automotive program, diesel mechanics program, and all types of programs like that. And we weren't able to recruit enough people to participate. And we were partnering with Caterpillar and John Deere, and a lot of that diesel mechanics is not necessarily for 18-wheelers and earth movers and stuff. A lot of those things are diesel engines in hospitals that generate electricity, in emergencies. And so they're working in a very clean environment. But they partnered with Aaron's Rents. And Aaron's Rents has a race car division, and they donated a race car. I mean, the real deal, with a trailer full of parts and everything. And our folks at the technical college would go around to the different high schools and have the kids take pictures inside a real NASCAR race car. I've been inside it. You crawl in through the window, the steering wheel comes out so you can get in. They put you in there and strap you down. Then they put the steering wheel in and lock it in place. But that really got the kids' imagination. So they expanded their program to a high performance automotive program. And getting the kids' interest may take some things like that we have to do out of the box, get them, because electrical, plumbing, framing, all these things are absolutely necessary. Masonry, for us to live the lives that we want. We were talking earlier about people's homes, and the ability to make enough money for their homes. Well, who's going to build the homes?
Yeah.
So could you tell me, what I'm hearing though is that y'all have been proactive in workforce development and not really even looking at the state for financing. Y'all go out and recruit and train and are still having challenges. Can you address some of the projects that you've worked on or had to delay because you didn't have enough people working before we open it up to the floor for questions?
Well, my company, we do primarily residential and commercial service. So, we're day to day, we do 3-4 service calls a day. So, we are, busy right now and behind, but I don't do large projects like some of the larger companies. do.
Okay.
Our association members all have at least 1-2 trucks sitting idle, just as they mentioned with the electrical. There's projects that are sitting there that they don't have the people, they don't have the products that they need to do the bigger jobs. Our association, the Plumbing, Heating, Cooling Contractors, we're celebrating our 130th year this year. We're one of the oldest trade associations. So if you think when the outhouse went indoors, that's when the professionals in the industry started, organizing and trying to protect the health of the nation. So as Jerome and everyone has mentioned, we work together. We all show up at the same career fairs. We work with Construction Ready, which was formerly the Construction Education Foundation of Georgia. They've been very successful at getting in with guidance counselors, getting into the schools. I find when I go to career days, it's talking to the parents. There's a parent pride issue about their child being a plumber. I hear jokes all the time, but I was with Jerome and he had a 23-year-old guy who worked for him, owned his own home, owned his own car, made $70,000 a year at 23 years of age. And he came to Jerome when he was a 18, 19-year-old kid. These are big jobs. You can see, you hear on the radio all the time. We've got the larger companies, they're offering $120,000 a year for a plumbing technician. And you can't find the people. So it's interesting. We partner. I guess we're asking for your help, just letting you know what our issues are, because we're exploring everywhere we can. We're turning over every rock we can to find people to encourage them in, whether it's a parent. I mean, I talk to everybody about it. When I go to a party, it's like, how many people want your kid to be a plumber? Nobody raises their hand. How would you like your child to live close to you, provide for their family, and earn a 6 figures? Sure. Okay, we have those jobs and we'll train you. Just as everyone said, you get paid. You don't pay for your college. You don't pay for your schooling. We will pay you to earn that kind of living. And we're still having those issues. Jerome was telling me about another issue, just not to do with workforce, is that we have such a litigious society that we have people pulling in front of our plumbing trucks, slamming on the brakes, and without these camera systems, the lawsuits, they're called nuclear lawsuits. And Jerome was just at a national conference on risk management. Tell them about what they said, what's happening with these hedge funds.
Yes, I was on this committee and it was something new to me, and you may all know about it. And, I don't know all the particulars, but one of our major insurance companies, this is a hot topic for them. And they were saying that these huge lawsuits are being bought out by these huge hedge fund investors. So say, for example, if it's maybe going to settle for 10 million, the hedge fund investors may come in before it settles and let you and say, I'll buy that. I will, you as the plaintiff, I will give you 5 million and we'll take over the case and we get whatever we get. So the insurance company was telling us that, this is becoming a bigger thing. And they are working with all different states to let the people know on the juries that this is what's happening. The hedge fund investors are trying to pass laws that they don't want the jury to know because they won't be as an emotional. They're saying, well, we may not award you this much money because we know that what you're doing, you're using this more as an investment vehicle. Which I don't believe it's, right now against the law or anything, but they're just trying to pass laws saying we don't want anybody to know. This is just behind the scenes stuff. So of course the insurance companies are saying, we don't like this. This is driving up the cost. So they're trying to fight against this. And this is one of their hot topics, which of course is going to up our rates, which, they already are expensive.
So financial institutions, if I understand correctly, are buying the
Yes.
lawsuit before it's settled.
Yes.
And they don't want the people to know what's going on
On the jury.
on the jury.
Yeah.
Okay. We've got a couple of questions real quick, like number 12. There you go.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And first of all, thank y'all so much for coming and presenting. I'm a big fan of our trade associations, MESA. I love your story. I hate that happened the way that it did, but God bless you for, taking over that company and running it and keeping those jobs there. And but Lee Lemke, Mark Woodall, thank y'all for what y'all do to represent our I call them our blue jean and brogan wearing industries. And that's where I'm from. I'm a termite and pest control guy, but I wanted to touch just briefly on kind of the big elephant in the room. And you just scratched the surface, Jerome, with, well, first you said that you're in kind of a dirty sort of an industry. People look at it that, well, we deal with human waste up here a lot of times in a different way. And nobody wants to talk about these things, but we need sweeping tort reform in this state. And listen, I know that almost every small business has bragged on the job that our governor's done, keeping this state open during these times to keep you guys working and serving Georgians. I always like to give him credit. Great leaders get a lot less than their share of the credit and a lot more than their share of the blame. But this man has stood strong. Governor Kemp has stood strong. We need tort reform, but that's going to take voters getting behind the right people to make that happen. The other one is one of your number one impediments to workforce is government. We can come up here and try to do all these fancy things to put more money in technical college or career academies and education, and we hadn't accomplished anything because we've incentivized single parenthood. You have children, we're going to give you money for that. We're going to feed them. We're going to provide them health care. We're going to do all of these things. And when I was about 17 or 18, I came home. My mama was sitting in a recliner in our living room crying. I said, Mama, what's wrong? She said, I lost my job today. The next day, she got a job and finished up 22 years and retired from that company. She wasn't sitting there wondering how government was going to provide for her. And in particular, this administration has doled out more handouts to people that really need to be standing in your places of business looking for an application to go to work. But again, it's going to take the trade associations, the voters supporting the right people to say, hey, pull back on these free handouts in this welfare state. Do you think in 1929 and 1930, they went to a technical college to try to figure out how to get no? They didn't go to an office to try to apply for welfare or handouts. They stood in line for hours looking for a job to just pay them enough to get to tomorrow. They were paying daily wages in 1930, 31, 32. And we're waiting a week or 2 weeks. And so unless we're willing to have the courage to call out what the problem really is and pull back on that or scream to the top of our lungs that the federal government needs to stop giving out trillions of dollars of free handouts in a welfare state, you're not going to, these young people you're saying that we can send to technical college, they got to have the want to. You can try to pour all the knowledge and education into them you want to, but they don't have the desire and the want to. And so a hungry man will work. A man that don't have to work for all of those things is not going to go to work.
Thank you. We've got Robert Pruitt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to echo the sentiment of my colleague here. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for taking your time out and coming and explaining some of the challenges. And the way I'm hearing this is you got two primary buckets, your supply chain efforts and your workforce efforts. And so I did want to kind of talk about those just a minute and then ask for some recommendations maybe from you. So along the lines of workforce, I'm a product of CTAE, our technical adult education group. And I see historically our state seems to do a bit of a pendulum with that. And so we'll be really focused on CTAE. We'll see those start popping up. And then we go through some consolidation efforts and they start being merged and combined. And we take a more regional approach. And then the university system starts getting a little bit more focused. And so then that pendulum starts swinging back a little bit. And I see us moving in that swing right now back towards CTAE type applications. And it's much needed, absolutely. But right now within the state, we're really focusing on mental health. And so there's a bit of a stigma there that we're trying to reverse that trend on. And so I see a very similar application here with you guys. And so you feel like there's a stigma associated maybe with the industry that doesn't have that appeal that it's missing. And so I'd say that we can help in certain ways on that one, but it takes a combined effort, just like with the mental health, there's a lot of people coming to the table from private industry, and then we're trying to also do it from the same side. And so I guess the question mainly is, what can we do to help with that? Because you are, in my view, you are the primary advocates for this. You're the associations, you're the people that represent those groups. So I would say you're the forefront of that from the stigma reversal side. So what on the state level can we do? I mean, we could do a resolution to make it, plumbing day on such and such a day, and then, set up things out at the Capitol. There's all kind of different ways of tackling that, but I would just encourage that and challenge you with that side of it, I would say. Supply chain side, shifting over that one, I'm kind of disappointed from the standpoint of, COVID attacked our supply chain. It was a huge impact that we're long lasting. We're living through right now. I was really hoping that we would see more onshoring of these companies and coming back. If that was the crystal ball that I was looking at, and I was just really hoping we see that. So I just pulled up our economic development website and I was kind of looking through the list of the opportunities or the announcements. And so majority of those that I'm seeing are new emerging markets that are coming to the state, new industries, those kind of things. But I think Thomas Betts is an electrical company, if I remember correctly. So what does it take for? We need some help trying to get those to come back. To rural Georgia is struggling immensely. Manufacturing. I just announced a bunch of job openings for my company. I got inundated with applications. It was more than I really expected. Now, a lot of those people are probably trying to come from companies that are existing, and it'll create a flow of people. But I think there are people out there, and I'm feel like rural Georgia is kind of missing the boat on that from that manufacturing. We would love to see these opportunities come back. I'd love to see those manufacturing onshores again, but you're the guys that out there talking to those companies. And so it's a combined effort as well. We would love to work with you to try to get these companies to try to come back and create opportunities and incentivize them in some way. But I feel like that's an aspect of economic development from the state level that we're missing. And I think it would really impact your industries. It would help out. It would be a great win-win in so many ways for us. So I'll challenge you with those things. If you want to comment on it, that'd be great. But I appreciate y'all being here.
Robert, I thought that was quite eloquently done. And we've got Roger Bruce online. Roger?
Yeah, good morning, everybody. I wish I could agree with my colleagues, but I don't. I think part of the problem that we're missing is everybody's asking for employees. And I think people are looking for opportunities to be owners. And, you know, when I call a plumbing company or I call any other company, you know, everybody that owns those companies looks the same. And there's, you know, in this country, we still don't want to take into consideration that there were people that were denied opportunities to do things in the past. And if we are trying to have an equal playing field, then we've got to take that into consideration. And people want ownership. They want to be able to generate wealth that they can pass on from generation to generation, and not just be an employee. They want to be an owner. So if your, you know, association and your industry can come up with ways to help people become owners of these companies that we're talking about, I think that you might be able to get more people to be involved. And secondly, we keep talking about going after students and young people, and we need to do that. But there are a lot of people out here that are looking for second opportunities, second careers, and second ways to get out of being an employee that can be fired at some point in time or laid off at some point in time. And as I said, be owners. So I think you got to spread the wealth, and you might get more people to be involved. Thank you.
All right. We don't have any more questions, but I do want to take the time to thank Lee for bringing you guys here. Y'all all have interesting stories, and for us to continue to grow and for us to continue to, as a state, and to provide opportunities for our citizens, we definitely need to partner with you guys, encourage our young people that there are construction jobs out there, and to go to, you know, address the concerns of a lot of the representatives here. Is there are opportunities to grow, and I'm going to share one of the important things that I touched on earlier about the technical college system. And I mentioned that, you know, we go with the HOPE grant, and that it's SACS accredited, and that it's taken on part of the role of our junior colleges. So if one of the people that develop the skills, electrician or a plumber, decide that maybe they want to branch off and become their own owner and start their own company, but they don't have the management skills yet, they can take that 2-year degree or associate's degree, or even if it's just not that, and transfer that with no loss of credit hours to a university, take some management, take some bookkeeping, and develop the skills so that they can not only start their own business, but be successful at their own business. Because small business creates big business. Big business just doesn't start from nowhere. If there are no other comments, or if anyone from the audience wants to say anything, well, with that, I want to thank you all for being here. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for what you provide our state. You're the foundation in more ways than one, literally, to be honest with you. And we greatly appreciate this. And please stay in touch with us. I want to give you my card and my telephone number. So if there's anything that we can do to address any of y'all's needs, we will. And with that, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.